The Earl Johnson-Jim-Godman match, 192 to 191. Unbelievable.
Yes, it was, Chris. Of course, Jim-Godman came from 25 pins back late in the game and won it. I have to say something in Earl's defense. He played a percentage shot, Chris. He did not want to go high and take a chance on the double pinochle or the Greek church, or two disastrous type splits. He had a good reach.
Speaking of Jim-Godman, whom we're looking, who opened this third game, the winner to go into the finals, leaving the 4-pin.
Right. As Earl Johnson had good reach, Jim did on that first shot. Earl, in reaching out like that, keeping the ball light of the head pin, he has a chance for any type of 8-pin combination. A lot of times you mix them and get a strike, and most of the time 9. At least he trusted the shot.
Now let's meet 24-year-old Mike Limongello of North Babylon, New York, on Long Island, 5'10", 130 pounds, 3-time PBA champion. Last year he won the Cougar Open. 4-7 for Mike Limongello. He finished 8th last week in Buffalo.
He's come back real strong. This is only his third tournament after completing his military service, and he's gotten better each week. Last year leading the qualifying, nearly making the final round of 5.
The spare for Mike Limongello. Things are all even after 1 frame. The winner of this match will meet Billy Hardwick, many-time champion, for the Miller High Life Trophy and the $10,000 first prize. Mike Limongello with a strike. Now it's Jim-Godman, who defeated Earl Johnson 192 to 191 a few moments ago. Johnson winning the first game over Jim St. John, 248 to 238. High. A break. The 7-pin went down, leaving only the 6-10 for Godman. Slow motion.
Chris, the ball it started left of his target. It also moves very sharply from right to left and cuts right through those pins. But he does get the break as the pin returns to knock over the 7.
And he chops the 6 off the 10.
Now that's like getting a pardon from prison and shooting the gun before you get off the prison grounds and killing the guard. You get a break and break up a split, and then you chop the 6 off the 10, Chris. That's unbelievable.
Pressure. As you saw, leaving the 10-pin on the left lane.
Chris, speaking of him, Jim-Godman, being a bold player, he would attack that 6-10 spare in his normal manner, where a lot of times our viewers wonder what goes on in the minds of a professional bowler. Another player would ensure not chopping it and miss it to the right.
Jim-Godman, who opened with a spare, then an open frame, and marking with another spare in the 3rd, and that brings up Lemongello, his opponent, who can double. He leads by 13 pins. Lemongello giving a long stare at the 6-10.
The right lane breaking more sharply, Chris. Almost the same type of hit that Jim-Godman had, leaving again the 6-10.
Mike Limongello, who finished 2nd overall during the Miller High Life Open competition here, going against Jim-Godman, who finished 3rd. tournament leader, fantastic Billy Hardwick. He's waiting for the winner of this game for the title. Four-pin.
He's rearing quite a bit at the line, which is much of Mike Limongello's style. He's getting away with it a little bit on the left lane because it is not breaking as sharply. In other words, moving from right to left. On the right lane, the ball, when you rear, takes its bite to the lane, and the ball starts moving in that right to left motion, so he's been high.
Mike Limongello, who has a 12-pin lead. Today, the 9th stop on the Professional Bowlers Tour, 9 stops, 13 cities. This is Wauwatosa, Wisconsin. Jim-Godman of Hayward, California, trailing by 12, shooting in the 4th. Next to last game and comes up with a big strike. He is bowling Mike Limongello.
Chris, watch as he puts the ball into motion. You'll see a very low backswing, and this is where we point out the forward thrust. Powerful forearms and shoulders. His body's turned slightly to the right, but with that good reach, that ensures going to the target maximum number of times.
It's a double for Godman. Applying the pressure now to Mike Limongello. If you just joined us, the first game, Earl Johnson against Jim St. John. Johnson winning 248 to 238. Then right down to the wire in the second match, Johnson losing by 1 pin, 192 to 191 to Godman, leaving 3 pins on the final ball, losing by 1. The Lemongello rooters giving the O's and ahs here in the capacity crowd, as we have 1 pin separating Lemongello and Godman at this stage of the 3rd game. Speaking of games, Billy, tomorrow Jack Twyman and I will be at the Spectrum in Philadelphia for the battle for 2nd place between the New York Knickerbockers and Philadelphia 76ers. 1:55 Eastern Standard Time. Billy, did you bowl this week in the championship?
Yes, I did, Chris.
Well, how'd you do after your big 7th a week ago?
Well, I didn't play too admirably. I was over par, a little bit over 200 average, but that wasn't nearly enough with these big scores this week.
Toledo next week.
Right.
Well, Mike Limongello, through 6 frames, it's his 2nd strike. Slow motion.
Chris puts the ball into motion, has excellent footwork, very deliberate, full extended arm swing. At this point, crouches, and then is when his body rears. Full power, that arm swing keeps it on line.
Got him for a 3-bagger. Sliding by, leaving the 2-4-5-8. Anybody's game, but to the winner, moves him into the finals. Victory there, $10,000. A loss, $6,000. Says that there's at least a difference of $3,000, winning or losing here. Beautiful.
Excellent cover there, Chris, because that's a very difficult spare in that there are so many ways to miss it. Watch the ball breaking sharply. At this point, it covers the 2 and the 5 and then goes through and gets the 8. The 2 knocks out the 4.
Third strike for Godman, coming here in the 7th frame. Lemongello now ready to shoot with a strike up, leading by 5 pins. $70,000 Miller High Life Open. Our tour is completed this year, as it is annually, in Akron, the Riviera Lanes, the Firestone Tournament of Champions. A double for Mike Limongello, leading now by 15 pins.
Chris got a very excellent kick on that 10. We talk about his rearing at the line. The kick on that 10 is the result of that long reach, which holds the ball on line toward the target. And while he's not using a forced speed, then gets the benefit of that pin action.
Three in a row for tiny Mike Limongello, increasing his lead now to 25 pins. Godman, however, has a strike up in the 7th, stroking in the 8th frame. A double.
It was a must strike, Chris, and it was his best stroke of the game. Long reach, the ball come off the thumb first, the finger second. Chris, watch as he puts this ball into motion. Hand stays behind the ball. The arm is straight. Now at this point, he does not take it back very far, about as low as Billy Hardwick. That long reach again is like the shaft on the golf club. It takes it toward the target.
Leaving the 4-pin, Billy, a lot of our viewers may not know it, but in addition to being an excellent bowler, you're a fine golfer. I know if our golf colleague Byron Nelson were listening, he'd like that parallel that you just drew, and Byron can be heard tomorrow on the final round of the Citrus Open. Jim-Godman. And here is the 24-year-old professional bowler from North Babylon, New York, Mike Limongello, with a 16-pin lead over Jim-Godman, shooting in the 9th frame. A four-bagger for 130-pound Lemongello, increasing his lead now to 26 pins. This is a go into the finals game. The winner to meet Billy Hardwick.
And that was a big strike for Mike Limongello, increasing his margin to 26 pins. It puts him in a position where he can afford an open in this final frame and still win the game, depending on his count on this ball.
All right. Four-pin.
Chris, by counting well on that ball, even if he would miss this pin, he'd still be the winner, because his final score would then be in the 2 teens. Jim-Godman's best possible score is 212. If Mike converts this, he would be in the 220s.
Mike Limongello, who will go into the finals against Billy Hardwick. And the loser here, Jim-Godman, will pick up a check for $3,000. Lemongello, at whom we're looking, has a chance to win $10,000, at least $6,000. Next week, the $50,000 Buckeye Open in Toledo, Ohio. Mike Limongello, a big 227 for the 24-year-old from North Babylon, New York. Strike for Jim-Godman, coming a little too late, coming in the 10th frame of this 3rd game. There is Billy Hardwick, now bowling out of Louisville, Kentucky, the tournament leader, who will meet Lemongello.
Stays full behind that ball with the hand, Chris. Does not take the hand around the ball as much as a player like Earl Johnson, or even as much as Mike Limongello does.
So for Jim-Godman, a 212, as he is beaten by 15 pins, as Mike Limongello has bowled a 227 here in the 3rd game, which leads to the